On a crisp autumn morning in the small town of Maplewood, Alex Thompson stood at the entrance of Riverview Hospital, the place he had dedicated his life to for over a decade. As he took in the familiar sights, the fluttering leaves, the busy nurses wheeling patients on gurneys, and the faint hum of medical equipment, he felt a sense of purpose fill him. Every day brought new challenges, but Alex thrived in the chaos. He loved the way he could make a difference in someone's life, whether it was comforting a scared child or assisting in a complex surgery. But today felt different. As he walked through the double doors, he noticed the atmosphere was heavier than usual, as if the hospital itself sensed the impending doom that loomed over it. Whispers circulated among the staff, and the usual morning chatter was replaced with hushed tones. Alex caught snippets of conversations as he passed the nurse's station. Words like budget cuts, financial struggles, and closure. A knot formed in his stomach as he made his way to the break room, hoping to find clarity among his colleagues. Inside, the room was packed, the tension palpable. Nurses huddled together, their expressions grave. Alex approached his friend, Maria, a bright-eyed nurse with a knack for making even the toughest days feel manageable. "What's going on?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "They're talking about shutting down the hospital." "Alex," Maria replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "The board just can't make ends meet anymore. It's bad." Alex's heart sank. Riverview Hospital was more than just a workplace. It was the heart of the community. It provided critical care, delivered countless babies, and offered solace to families during their darkest hours. Without it, many would struggle to access the health care they desperately needed. He felt a surge of determination as he considered the implications of such a loss. "We can't let this happen. There has to be something we can do," he declared, looking around at his fellow nurses. "Like what?" Maria challenged. "They've already cut staff and resources. What more can we give?" Before Alex could respond, the hospital administrator, Mr. Grayson, entered the break room. His presence instantly silenced the room. With a grim expression, he addressed the staff. "I know you've all heard the rumors. The board has scheduled a meeting for later today to discuss the future of Riverview. We need to brace ourselves for the worst." The room erupted in a cacophony of questions and worries. Alex listened intently, but all he could think about was the families that depended on the hospital. He envisioned Mrs. Jacobs, the elderly woman who brought cookies to the nurses every Friday, and young Tommy, who had just been diagnosed with a rare illness and needed ongoing treatment. The thought of their futures hanging in the balance fueled his resolve. As the meeting concluded, Alex stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. He walked toward the riverbank that ran alongside the hospital, the water sparkling under the bright sun. He closed his eyes, letting the sound of rushing water soothe him. In that moment, a plan began to take shape in his mind. The community had always rallied around Riverview. They had to come together again. He needed to organize a fundraiser, a way to raise awareness and resources to keep the hospital afloat. Returning to the break room, he gathered his colleagues. "Listen, I have an idea. We can't just sit back and let this happen. Let's host a community fundraiser. We'll bring everyone together, raise some money, and show the board that Riverview matters." The initial response was mixed. Some were skeptical, while others showed sparks of hope. "What if we invite local businesses to donate?" Maria suggested. "We could hold a silent auction, maybe even a bake sale." Encouraged by the enthusiasm, Alex began to outline their ideas. They brainstormed for hours, energized by the prospect of fighting for their hospital. By the end of the day, a plan was in place. The fundraiser would take place in just 2 weeks, and they had work to do. As Alex left the hospital that evening, he felt a sense of purpose surging through him. He would not let Riverview Hospital become just a memory. He would fight for it, for the patients who relied on its care, and for the community that needed its heartbeat. With determination in his heart, he stepped out into the cool evening air, ready to take on the challenges ahead. Little did Alex know that his efforts to save the hospital would soon attract the attention of someone unexpected, a kind-hearted millionaire who frequented the hospital and who would change everything for the community in ways no one could anticipate. As the days rolled by, the energy surrounding the fundraiser grew palpable in the town of Maplewood. Posters plastered on telephone poles and bulletin boards read, "Save Riverview Hospital. Join us for a community fundraiser." Local businesses rallied behind the cause, donating goods and services for the silent auction. The local bakery provided trays of cookies, the florist offered a stunning bouquet for the raffle, and even the hardware store pitched in, donating a lawnmower that had everyone buzzing with excitement. Alex poured his heart and soul into the event, spending countless hours coordinating logistics, reaching out to potential sponsors, and rallying the staff. Each night, he returned home exhausted, but fueled by the support and enthusiasm of his colleagues. As the day of the fundraiser approached, Alex felt a growing sense of hope mingled with anxiety. Would the community show up? Would they raise enough money to make a difference? On the morning of the event, the sun shone brightly over Maplewood, casting a warm glow over the park where they had decided to host the fundraiser. Tents were erected, tables were adorned with colorful tablecloths, and laughter filled the air as volunteers set up booths and arranged the items for the auction. Alex arrived early, greeting everyone with a smile and a sense of urgency. He had gathered a small army of nurses, doctors, and volunteers who believed in the mission. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with. As the clock ticked closer to the start time, people began to filter into the park. Families strolled in, children laughing and chasing one another, their energy infectious. Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. The community had come together, and the turnout was impressive. Friends, neighbors, and even local leaders showed up to show their support for the hospital. Among the crowd was Mr. Harrison, a kind-hearted millionaire who owned a successful chain of grocery stores. He was a familiar face at Riverview Hospital, often seen chatting with the staff or bringing treats for the patients. Alex had spoken to him a few times during his shifts, but he had never truly understood the depth of Mr. Harrison's commitment to the community. Today, as Alex caught sight of him, he felt a glimmer of hope. "Mr. Harrison, thank you for coming," Alex exclaimed, rushing over to greet him. The man smiled warmly, his presence radiating kindness. "I wouldn't miss this for the world, Alex. I admire what you all are doing here." As the event began, Alex took to the microphone, his heart racing. "Thank you all for being here today. Riverview Hospital is facing an uncertain future, and we need your help to keep it alive. Every dollar raised today will go directly to ensuring we can continue providing vital services to our community." His words resonated with the crowd, who cheered and clapped in encouragement. The fundraiser unfolded with joyous energy. Families enjoyed games and activities while the aroma of freshly grilled burgers wafted through the air. The silent auction table was a flurry of excitement, with bidders eagerly eyeing items and jotting down their offers. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, Alex felt a swell of pride and gratitude. But as the evening wore on, Alex noticed a somber tension creeping in. The auction bids were not as high as he had hoped, and he began to worry that they might not raise enough money to make a significant impact. Just then, Mr. Harrison approached him with a serious expression. "I've been watching the bids, Alex. You're doing an incredible job, but I think we need a little more to ensure the future of Riverview." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, his heart racing. "I'd like to help. How about I place a significant bid on one of the auction items?" Mr. Harrison suggested, his tone earnest. Alex felt a rush of gratitude mixed with disbelief. "That would be amazing. But you don't have to." "I want to. It's important to me," he insisted. With that, Mr. Harrison made a bold move, bidding a staggering amount on a unique piece of artwork donated by a local artist. The crowd gasped, eyes wide with surprise and admiration. "Mr. Harrison just bought that painting for $10,000. Someone shouted, igniting a wave of cheers and applause. The energy shifted in an instant, and other bidders began to increase their offers, inspired by Mr. Harrison's generosity. The atmosphere became electric, as if a spark had ignited a fire of hope in the hearts of the attendees. As the night continued, the auction raised unexpected amounts, and Alex felt a renewed sense of determination. They were on the brink of something remarkable. But as the final items were being auctioned off, a sudden commotion broke out at the back of the park. Alex turned, his heart racing as he saw a small crowd gathering, faces filled with shock and concern. He rushed over, parting the sea of bodies to see what was happening. To his horror, a young boy had collapsed near the food stand. Panic set in as onlookers gasped and scrambled to help. Without thinking, Alex pushed his way through, calling out, "I'm a nurse. Let me through." Reaching the boy, he quickly assessed the situation. The child was unconscious, and it was clear he needed immediate medical attention. Alex's training kicked in as he knelt beside him, quickly checking for vital signs. He instructed someone to call 911 and others to create space for the paramedics. The crowd watched in tense silence, and Alex felt the weight of their eyes on him. "Stay calm, buddy," he whispered, gently shaking the boy's shoulders. "Help is on the way." Just as he began to feel the child's pulse stabilize, the paramedics arrived, efficiently taking over the situation. As they loaded the boy onto the stretcher, Alex felt a wave of relief mixed with concern. He watched the paramedics whisk him away, hoping for the best. Once the initial shock subsided, the crowd murmured about what had just transpired. "Is he going to be okay?" someone asked, fear etched on their face. "Let's keep our spirits up. We're raising money for the hospital, after all," Alex called out, trying to maintain morale. But in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the worry for the boy. As the evening wound down, the fundraiser concluded with an unexpected twist. The community had rallied together not only to raise funds, but also to reinforce the importance of the hospital in their lives. They had witnessed the urgency of healthcare firsthand, and Alex felt more determined than ever to ensure Riverview would remain a beacon of hope for everyone in Maplewood. When the dust settled and the last of the guests began to depart, Alex reflected on the day's events. It had been a roller coaster of emotions, joy, fear, relief, but he knew one thing for certain: the fight to save Riverview Hospital was far from over, and they would need every ounce of support and courage as they moved forward. Little did he know that Mr. Harrison's generous act would soon set off a chain of events that would change everything for the hospital and the community in ways they could never have anticipated. The days following the fundraiser buzzed with excitement and hope in Maplewood. Thanks to Mr. Harrison's unexpected generosity, the community had managed to raise a substantial amount of money, enough to keep Riverview Hospital afloat for a few more months. As Alex Thompson returned to the hospital, he could feel a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The staff walked with renewed purpose, their spirits lifted by the recent success. Patients were met with brighter smiles, and there was a sense of camaraderie among the team that hadn't been felt in a long time. Yet, beneath this hopeful facade, cracks began to emerge. The hospital administration called for a meeting to discuss the funds raised and the next steps to secure the hospital's long-term future. As the staff gathered in the conference room, Alex noticed a tension brewing among his colleagues. The board members, typically tight-lipped, were unusually fidgety, exchanging glances filled with unspoken words. Mr. Grayson, the hospital administrator, opened the meeting with a solemn tone. "I want to start by thanking each of you for your hard work during the fundraiser. We managed to raise just over $200,000, which is an incredible achievement." A round of applause erupted, but the enthusiasm quickly dimmed as Mr. Grayson continued. "However, we must face the reality that this is only a temporary solution to our ongoing financial struggles." Alex leaned forward in his seat, his heart sinking as he listened. "What do you mean?" "We can use this money to make immediate improvements," he urged. "We could even expand some services or improve patient care." While that may be true, the reality is that we are still facing substantial operating costs. Mr. Grayson replied, his voice firm. We need to find a more sustainable solution, or we risk being back in the same situation in just a few months. The weight of his words hung heavily in the air. Discussions of budget cuts and resource allocations ensued, and as the meeting progressed, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that the staff's morale was beginning to wane. The realization that their hard work might only delay the inevitable was crushing. After the meeting, Alex pulled Maria aside, seeking a sense of clarity amid the confusion. "What are we going to do?" he asked, frustration evident in his voice. "We can't let them just sit on this money and do nothing." Maria nodded, her expression serious. "I don't know, Alex. I think we need to come up with a new plan. Something that will really show the board and the community that we're worth investing in." Determined to brainstorm new ideas, Alex gathered his colleagues for an informal meeting after their shifts. They discussed innovative ways to raise awareness about the hospital's needs and generate additional funds. The thought of losing their hospital motivated them to think outside the box. Ideas flowed freely. Perhaps they could start a community health fair or create partnerships with local businesses that could sponsor health initiatives. As they mapped out their plans, a familiar face appeared at the door. It was Mr. Harrison, who had been a quiet presence in the background, observing the staff's enthusiasm. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation," he said, stepping into the room. "I think you're onto something with the health fair idea. It could bring the community together and highlight the services Riverview offers." The group turned to Mr. Harrison, their faces lighting up with hope. "Really? You think that could work?" Alex asked, his excitement palpable. "Absolutely," Mr. Harrison replied. "I'd be happy to lend my support and help sponsor the event. If we can get the word out, we could attract more donations and maybe even bring in some new patients." With Mr. Harrison's endorsement, the team felt invigorated. They began to plan the health fair, setting a date just a few weeks away. Alex and his colleagues worked tirelessly to secure vendors, plan activities, and promote the event through social media and local news outlets. They envisioned a day filled with health screenings, educational workshops, fun activities for children, and, of course, fundraising opportunities. As the date of the health fair approached, excitement spread through the town. Flyers were distributed, and word-of-mouth buzz increased as more people learned about the event. Alex felt a sense of pride as he watched the community rally behind Riverview Hospital. It was as if the struggles they had faced had transformed them into a united front. However, just as they were gaining momentum, trouble arose. A week before the fair, the hospital faced unexpected challenges. Several key staff members fell ill, creating a staffing shortage that threatened to derail the event. Panic set in as Alex and Maria scrambled to fill the gaps, reaching out to former employees and local volunteers for help. As they worked late into the night, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on Alex's shoulders. He couldn't shake the feeling that if the health fair failed, it would be a significant blow to the hospital's chances of survival. It was during one of these late-night sessions that they received an unexpected visitor. The young boy who had collapsed at the fundraiser, accompanied by his grateful mother. "Alex," the boy exclaimed, his eyes shining with gratitude. "I wanted to thank you for saving me. My mom says you're a hero." Alex knelt down to the boy's level, a warm smile spreading across his face. "I'm just glad you're feeling better. How are you doing now?" The boy's mother chimed in. "He's doing great, thanks to you. I heard about the health fair, and I wanted to help. Is there anything we can do?" Her offer ignited a spark in Alex's heart. "Actually, we could use all the help we can get. If you could spread the word, that would be amazing." As the days passed, the community's support became overwhelming. Former staff members reached out, eager to lend a hand at the health fair. Families brought food, local businesses contributed supplies, and volunteers stepped up to help with organization. Alex felt a surge of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could pull this off. Finally, The day of the health fair arrived, and the park buzzed with activity. Families flocked to the venue, children playing games, and booths set up to provide free health screenings. Alex stood at the entrance, welcoming attendees with a smile, grateful for the overwhelming turnout. Mr. Harrison's support was evident. He had sponsored the event and personally funded several initiatives to promote health awareness. As the sun shone down on Maplewood, the community came together, sharing stories and laughter while raising funds for their beloved hospital. Yet, just as things seemed to reach a peak, the unexpected happened. A representative from the hospital board arrived unexpectedly, sending shockwaves through the gathered crowd. "I'm here to announce that we're conducting an emergency review of the hospital's operations," the representative declared, cutting through the festive atmosphere. "Due to the recent financial turmoil, we need to assess whether Riverview is viable for continued support." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and Alex felt his heart drop. Not now, he thought. Not when we're finally gaining traction. The community began to murmur anxiously, and Alex knew he had to act fast. Rallying the crowd, he stepped forward, his voice firm. "I understand that you need to assess the situation, but look around. This community cares deeply about Riverview Hospital. We're not just a building. We're family. We're fighting for our future." His words seemed to resonate as people began to cheer, their voices rising in solidarity. "We won't let Riverview go down without a fight," someone shouted. The crowd erupted into applause, and the board representative took a step back, momentarily taken aback by the passionate outcry. Alex's heart raced as he realized that the stakes were higher than ever. This was not just about a hospital. It was about the bonds of community and the lives they touched every day. As the health fair continued to unfold, the spirit of Maplewood shone brightly, ready to fight for what mattered most. The unexpected arrival of the board representative had set the stage for a confrontation that would determine the hospital's future, and Alex was prepared to lead the charge, with the entire community rallying behind him. The atmosphere at the health fair crackled with energy as Alex stood at the forefront, the weight of the moment resting heavily on his shoulders. The community had gathered, united in their love for Riverview Hospital, and as he looked out at their eager faces, he felt a swell of determination. He knew this was more than just a health fair. It was a pivotal moment for the hospital's future, a chance to demonstrate the unwavering support of Maplewood. The board representative, however, remained unyielding, and Alex could sense the tension in the air. As the cheers of the crowd echoed around him, he approached the representative, a tall man named Mr. Jennings. "We understand the need for review," Alex began, his voice steady despite the anxiety coursing through him. "But today we want to show you what Riverview truly means to this community." Mr. Jennings nodded, but his expression was still skeptical. "I appreciate the enthusiasm, but numbers don't lie. The hospital is in a financial crisis, and we need to look at viable solutions," he replied coolly, glancing at the bustling fairgrounds, as if searching for something to criticize. Without missing a beat, Alex gestured toward the various booths, filled with families engaging in health screenings and educational workshops. "These people are here because they believe in Riverview. They know the difference it makes in their lives. We have to fight for it, not just with numbers, but with passion and community spirit." As Alex spoke, Maria joined him, her presence bolstering his confidence. "Mr. Jennings, these are not just numbers on a balance sheet. These are families who rely on our hospital for care, for hope, for healing. The community has come together to support us, and we need to show that Riverview is worth saving." The crowd erupted into cheers again, their voices rising in solidarity. Alex could see the shift in Mr. Jennings' demeanor, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes as he glanced at the animated faces around him. "Maybe," he conceded, "but we need to see a sustainable plan moving forward." "Then let us show you," Alex responded, emboldened by the moment. "We have a plan in place, an initiative to not only raise funds, but also to enhance our services. With your support, we can turn things around." He motioned toward the informational booths where doctors and nurses were explaining new health programs and initiatives designed to improve patient care and attract more residents to the hospital. As the day progressed, Alex led Mr. Jennings through the fair, introducing him to families who shared their stories of how Riverview had changed their lives. There was Mrs. Jacobs, who had received life-saving treatment after her heart attack. Young Tommy, the boy who had collapsed at the fundraiser, now bustling with energy and laughter. And the Ramirez family, who had welcomed their first child at Riverview. Each encounter painted a vivid picture of the hospital's impact on the community. With every story shared, Alex noticed a gradual softening in Mr. Jennings' stance. The pride and love these families expressed began to break through the representative's professional demeanor, revealing glimpses of empathy beneath his surface. But just as things seemed to be shifting in their favor, an unexpected interruption occurred. The community was suddenly thrown into chaos when a small group of protesters appeared at the edge of the park, holding signs that read, "Shut down Riverview" and "Money over Lives." Their shouts cut through the celebrations, a stark reminder of the divided opinions surrounding the hospital's future. Alex's heart sank as he witnessed the protesters, feeling the wave of frustration wash over him. Why would anyone want to see the hospital close? As the crowd's attention shifted, murmurs of concern rippled through the attendees, and Alex quickly took charge once more. "Everyone, please remain calm. We will address this together." He stepped forward to confront the protesters, feeling a rush of adrenaline. "What is the meaning of this?" he called out, trying to understand their motives. One of the protesters, a young woman named Sarah, stepped forward, her voice fierce yet passionate. "You're throwing money at a sinking ship. This hospital has been mismanaged for years. People need better health care, not false promises." Alex took a deep breath, trying to remain composed. "We're fighting for this hospital because it means so much to our community. Yes, we have challenges, but we believe in our ability to turn things around. We want to show that with support, Riverview can thrive." The crowd began to murmur in response, some in agreement, others conflicted. Sarah's expression softened slightly as she considered his words. "And what about accountability? What changes will you make to ensure that this doesn't happen again?" she asked, her voice lowering as she engaged with the community's concerns. "Great question," Alex replied, sensing the shift in the crowd's mood. "We are working on transparency and better management practices. We've already begun implementing new initiatives to improve patient care and community outreach." As he spoke, he felt the collective energy of the crowd begin to shift back toward solidarity. Mr. Jennings watched the exchange intently, recognizing the potential for positive dialogue and change. The protesters' voices softened, and Alex seized the opportunity. "Why don't we all sit down together, both supporters and critics, and talk about what Riverview can become? We're open to ideas, and we need your input to make it better for everyone." Slowly, the tension began to ease, and the protesters moved closer to the crowd. Alex could see Sarah weighing her options, her passion clearly rooted in a desire for improvement. "Okay," she finally said, "but we need to make sure our voices are heard." With a renewed sense of purpose, Alex nodded. "Absolutely. Let's come together, united in our love for this hospital and our community. Together, we can create a future that works for everyone." As the health fair continued, the atmosphere shifted from one of division to collaboration. Alex worked tirelessly to facilitate discussions, bringing people from both sides together. The community, once split, found common ground in their shared goal: to save Riverview Hospital and ensure it served as a beacon of hope for all. In the following weeks, Alex and his team worked tirelessly to put together a comprehensive plan for the hospital's future. They held community meetings where everyone could voice their opinions and concerns, leading to constructive feedback that Alex was determined to incorporate. Mr. Harrison, now fully invested in the hospital's success, stepped up as a mentor to Alex, helping him navigate the complexities of hospital administration. As they laid out their vision, a palpable sense of hope began to bloom. The community's unity became a powerful force, attracting attention not only from local media, but also from regional health organizations interested in supporting Riverview's transformation. With each passing day, Alex felt the weight of responsibility lighten as they moved toward a brighter future. Yet, just as they began to feel the momentum shift in their favor, an unexpected challenge loomed on the horizon. A new state health regulation threatened to impose additional restrictions and requirements on the hospital, which could potentially derail all their hard work. It became clear that the fight for Riverview was far from over. The stakes had never been higher, and Alex knew they would need every ounce of strength and solidarity to face the challenges ahead. As he stood at the heart of the community, he realized that the battle was not just about saving a hospital. It was about redefining what healthcare could mean in their lives. This newfound sense of purpose ignited a fire within him. Together, they would confront every challenge that arose, armed with their determination and belief in a better tomorrow. The story of Riverview Hospital was still being written, and Alex was ready to lead the charge, with the entire community rallying behind him. As the weeks unfolded in the vibrant community of Maplewood, Alex Thompson and his team at Riverview Hospital pushed forward, determined to build a sustainable future amidst the swirling challenges. They had gathered momentum, but the looming threat of new state health regulations hung over them like a dark cloud. The news had spread quickly, igniting fresh concerns among the staff and the community about how these regulations could impact their beloved hospital. Alex, fueled by the support of the townspeople and the guidance of Mr. Harrison, prepared for a crucial meeting with the hospital board to discuss their response to the impending regulations. As he stood outside the boardroom, anxiety churned in his stomach. He had worked tirelessly to compile a comprehensive plan that addressed the community's needs while adhering to the new state mandates, but he was acutely aware that the stakes had never been higher. Inside the boardroom, the atmosphere was tense. Board members shuffled papers, their expressions grave. Mr. Jennings, who had been observing their efforts with skepticism, took his seat, his demeanor serious. "Alex, we need to hear your proposal," he said, his tone commanding. Taking a deep breath, Alex launched into his presentation. "Thank you for this opportunity. As you know, the new regulations present significant challenges, but they also offer us a chance to reevaluate our practices and enhance the quality of care we provide. Our community has rallied behind us, and I believe we can turn this situation into an opportunity for growth." He detailed the initiatives they had implemented, emphasizing community engagement, transparency, and the incorporation of patient feedback. "We've organized health fairs, fostered partnerships with local businesses, and created new outreach programs. The community wants to be involved, and this is their chance to help shape the future of Riverview." Mr. Jennings interjected, skepticism still etched on his face. "That sounds great in theory, but how do you plan to fund these initiatives while complying with the state regulations? We're already stretched thin financially." Alex felt his pulse quicken, but he remained composed. "That's why we're proposing a tiered approach. We'll seek grants specifically targeted at hospitals adapting to new regulations. I've been in contact with several organizations that are eager to support community health initiatives. Moreover, we can create a community advisory board, which will ensure that all voices are heard and that we remain accountable to our patients and staff." A murmur of approval swept through the room, but Mr. Jennings raised an eyebrow, still unconvinced. "And what if these regulations still lead to cuts or downsizing? How do you plan to address potential layoffs?" Alex's heart sank at the thought of losing any more staff. "We'll actively seek out partnerships with larger health systems that could provide support and resources. This would allow us to expand services rather than cut them. I firmly believe that by working together with the community and other health organizations, we can enhance our offerings and ensure that everyone feels secure in their positions." The board remained quiet, processing the information. Just then, a familiar face appeared in the doorway, Maria, who had come to offer her support. She approached Alex with a determined look. "I think I can help," she said quietly, a spark of confidence in her eyes. "I've spoken with a few local organizations who are interested in collaborating with us. They're eager to see Riverview succeed." Encouraged by her presence, Alex continued, "We're not alone in this fight. The community believes in us, and together we can create a model for sustainable healthcare. If we can demonstrate our commitment to patient-centered care while complying with regulations, we can secure the future of Riverview." The tension in the room began to dissipate, and Alex could see the board members exchanging glances. After a few moments, Mr. Jennings spoke again. "I'll admit, your passion is infectious. If you can prove that our initiatives will have tangible benefits, I'll advocate for a trial period to see how these changes impact our operations." Relief washed over Alex as the board's support began to solidify. "Thank you, Mr. Jennings. I assure you, we will work tirelessly to make this a success. Riverview is worth saving." With the meeting concluding on a hopeful note, Alex stepped out into the hallway, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that while this was just the beginning, they had taken a significant step forward. As he shared the news with Maria, their excitement was palpable. "We did it, Alex. This is our chance to turn things around," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. However, just as things were beginning to look up, an unexpected challenge arose. Late that night, as Alex reviewed notes from the meeting, he received a frantic call from Mr. Harrison. "Alex, we need to talk." "It's urgent," he said, his voice laced with concern. Meeting Mr. Harrison at his office the next morning, Alex felt the gravity of the situation. "What's going on?" he asked, anxiety creeping in. "I've received troubling news," Mr. Harrison began, his brow furrowed. "There are whispers of a potential merger between Riverview and another hospital in the region, a much larger facility that may have different priorities. If this merger goes through, I'm worried about what it will mean for our community and the values we hold dear at Riverview." The weight of those words settled heavily on Alex's shoulders. A merger could mean losing the essence of what Riverview stood for, potentially compromising the community-oriented care that had made it a beloved institution. "We can't let that happen," Alex declared. "We need to act fast and rally the community again. They deserve to know what's at stake." The two men devised a plan to hold an emergency community meeting to address the rumors and discuss the potential merger. They sent out announcements, urging everyone to attend. As the day approached, the tension in the air was palpable. The community had already fought hard to save Riverview, and now they faced a new adversary. The night of the meeting arrived, and the community center overflowed with concerned residents. Alex took to the stage, his heart racing as he faced the crowd. "Thank you all for coming tonight. We are here because we need to discuss an urgent matter that affects the future of Riverview Hospital." As he laid out the situation, the atmosphere shifted from concern to determination. "We cannot let a merger compromise the values that we hold dear. Riverview is more than just a hospital. It's a lifeline for this community. We need to stand together and advocate for our right to choose how our health care is managed." Voices rose in agreement, and hands shot up in the air as community members expressed their thoughts. "We need to make our voices heard," one person shouted. "Let's organize a petition," another called out. Alex felt a surge of hope as the community rallied around him, their passion reigniting. "Yes, let's show them how much Riverview means to us. We'll gather signatures, reach out to local leaders, and make it clear that we are united in our fight." With renewed vigor, the meeting transformed into a strategy session. They brainstormed ways to raise awareness, leverage social media, and engage local news outlets. Alex's heart swelled with pride as he witnessed the strength and resilience of the community. They were willing to fight for their hospital, and he knew that together they could make a difference. As the weeks progressed, the campaign to protect Riverview intensified. Community members created flyers, organized rallies, and spoke passionately at town hall meetings. The petition gained traction, and the signatures poured in. Alex, fueled by the unwavering support of his friends and neighbors, felt an electric sense of unity that propelled them forward. But amidst the fervor, a chilling moment arrived when Alex received news that the hospital board had scheduled a vote to finalize the merger within days. The urgency heightened, and the pressure mounted as Alex realized they needed to act fast. With little time left, he organized a final rally outside the hospital, inviting everyone to come together one last time to voice their concerns. On the day of the rally, the sun shone brightly, illuminating the sea of faces gathered in solidarity. As Alex stood before the crowd, he felt the energy of the community swell around him. "This is it," he declared, his voice strong. "Today, we make our stand. We will show the hospital board that we will not back down. Riverview is ours, and we will fight for it." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising as they chanted slogans of support for the hospital. As Alex looked out at the faces of friends, families, and neighbors, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had fought too hard to let go of what mattered most. The board meeting was tense, but the community's voices had been heard. They presented their petition, their stories, and their unwavering commitment to Riverview. As Alex finished speaking, he felt a wave of emotion wash over him. He had witnessed firsthand the power of a united community, the strength of shared values, and the determination to fight for what was right. As the board members deliberated, Alex held his breath, waiting for the verdict. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Mr. Jennings addressed the room. "After careful consideration and listening to the community's concerns, we have decided to halt the merger negotiations and focus on improving Riverview Hospital together." A roar of applause erupted in the room, and Alex felt tears of joy well up in his eyes. They had done it. They had won. The fight for Riverview Hospital was not just about saving a building. It was about preserving the heart of their community. The relief and joy that flooded through him were overwhelming. In the weeks that followed, Riverview began to transform. They implemented the new initiatives Alex had proposed, fostering transparency and collaboration with the community. With Mr. Harrison's support as the sun rose over Maplewood, it cast a warm glow on Riverview Hospital, now a symbol of resilience and community spirit. The months following the successful rally had been transformative, both for the hospital and for the town. Alex Thompson stood in the hospital's lobby, taking in the changes. Fresh coats of paint adorned the walls, new equipment filled the patient rooms, and the atmosphere buzzed with renewed energy. Patients were greeted by smiling faces, and the staff worked diligently, inspired by the support they had received from their community. In the wake of the halted merger, the hospital board had made a commitment to enhance operations. They had enlisted community members to join a newly formed advisory board, ensuring that the voices of the residents would play a crucial role in decision-making. Alex felt a sense of pride as he watched his colleagues rally around this new vision for Riverview. They had proven that unity could overcome even the most daunting challenges. But with success came new challenges. The state regulations still loomed, and compliance required significant adjustments to hospital practices. Alex and the staff quickly dove into adapting their operations, exploring innovative ways to meet the mandates while maintaining the quality of care. They implemented training sessions for staff, revised patient care protocols, and focused on community outreach to educate residents about the hospital's services. One afternoon, while reviewing compliance documents, Alex received a call from Mr. Harrison. "Alex, I've got some exciting news. I just secured a grant from a health organization that specifically supports community hospitals adapting to new regulations. This could be a game changer for us." Excitement surged through Alex as he listened. "That's incredible, Mr. Harrison. How much can we receive?" "A substantial amount, enough to cover the costs of the new equipment and some of the staff training we've been discussing. We can expand our services and enhance patient care without further burdening the community financially." The grant news brought renewed motivation to the team. With Mr. Harrison's financial support and the community's backing, they could implement the changes necessary to thrive under the new regulations. Meetings became a mix of strategy and inspiration as everyone contributed ideas, all driven by a shared goal: to make Riverview Hospital a beacon of hope and healing. As the weeks progressed, Alex became increasingly aware of how much the fight for Riverview had changed not only the hospital, but also the fabric of the community. Neighbors who had once exchanged pleasantries now actively engaged in conversations about health, wellness, and the importance of access to quality care. Local businesses held events to raise funds for the hospital, and children organized bake sales, showcasing the powerful impact of their collective effort. Yet, amid the optimism, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that the journey was far from over. One evening, while wrapping up a meeting with the advisory board, he brought up an unsettling thought. "We've made incredible progress, but we need to remain vigilant. The healthcare landscape is ever-changing, and we must adapt continuously to stay ahead of any potential threats." The board members nodded in agreement, but one member, Sarah, the former protester who had now become a passionate advocate, spoke up. "You're right, Alex. We need to ensure that our community remains informed and engaged. If we can foster a culture of health and wellness beyond the hospital's walls, we can prevent future crises." Inspired by her words, Alex proposed a new initiative, a community health program designed to empower residents with knowledge and resources. They would organize workshops focusing on nutrition, exercise, mental health, and preventive care, making healthcare accessible and engaging for everyone. The board enthusiastically embraced the idea, and over the next few months, they launched the program with a kickoff event in the park. Families flocked to the event, drawn by the promise of health screenings, wellness tips, and engaging activities for children. As Alex moved through the crowd, he felt a swell of pride at what they had built together. However, just as the community began to flourish, unexpected news struck. A large corporation approached the town with plans to build a new healthcare facility just outside of Maplewood. The corporate entity promised state-of-the-art equipment and cutting-edge services, creating a buzz that threatened to overshadow Riverview's achievements. The discussion sent ripples of anxiety through the community, and fears of losing local support began to surface. Alex knew that they had to act quickly to ensure Riverview's place in the hearts of Maplewood residents. "We can't let fear dictate our future," he urged during a meeting with the advisory board.